Okay, in some of my recent videos, I've been doing experiments with audio products. I picked up a pair of AirPods Pro 2 to test out the hearing test and see how they work as a hearing aid, as I have hearing loss on my left side that I got from a viral infection right around the beginning of the pandemic. Still don't know if there's a connection, but that's what my story was, and that's where I'm staying. Nevertheless, I have been using a number of different products ever since then to try to bring balance back to my hearing experience. So I used the AirPods, worked pretty well. I tried out the Creative Orvana Ace Mimi. I did a whole video on that and found that it wasn't super effective. If you're really interested in hearing enhancements, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that product unless your hearing loss is less than mine. If you have very minor hearing loss, then it could actually be beneficial. But the Buds3 Pro, with the most latest update, was supposed to have added hearing enhancements. So I picked up a pair refurb from Best Buy for about $140. And I thought, all right, take the plunge, try these out, see how they perform. So here is the Samsung Galaxy Wearable app, and you've got my Buds Pro 3 there. You can see how the battery is performing. This is just the standard app. It is really sound quality and effects that we're interested in for this conversation. It has all the usual features, but now you've got Adapt Sound built into the Buds. And if you're not familiar with Adapt Sound, it has been available on Samsung devices for years. I've actually used it on all of my Samsung devices. It allows you to take a hearing test and it adjusts the sound profile across the device based off of the results from your hearing test. And there are standard profiles in here if you're of a certain age. We know that hearing deteriorates with age, so as of a certain age, they've got like standard profiles for restoring that type of balance for aging. But you can also create custom profiles based off of your own hearing tests. These you don't have to take hearing tests for. They're just in here. You can turn them on or off. But if you have your own personal profile, it's based off of your hearing test. And then here you can see, yeah, she said she had hearing loss on the left side, and she does. So the way they have this set up is that if you're over this line here, you're excellent. If you're over this line here, you're good. You can see I'm just below good for most of the frequencies on the left side. Here, low frequencies pretty well, but not the mids and the highs. So one of the things you'll probably notice right away is, yeah, my hearing on my right side is pretty much normal. It gives me little tiny boosts because, with age we do lose a little bit with time. So it's boosting me back up to, I guess, what it would determine as optimal. But even with the boosting, and the boosting is significant, as you can see here, even with the boosting, it's not getting me to even where my hearing is on my right side without the boost. So I still detect a difference. There's still an imbalance, but obviously it is significantly better than using it without Adapt Sound at all. And that has been my experience with Adapt Sound on Samsung devices in general. It does help. It is beneficial, and I turn it on with every device. I will do the hearing test, or it actually brings across the results from other devices when I configure them to replace another device. It just brings it across. So I've been using this, and I do find it beneficial, but it is not the final answer. If your hearing loss is past a certain point, it's not, as you can see, I just don't think with hardware limitations and maybe even software limitations that they can boost everything back to where we would like it to be once your hearing loss is past a certain level. But it does make a difference. But I still am relying on other applications to make up the extra difference. So this doesn't allow me to stop using my equalizer apps that I use on my Android devices to adjust my left hearing frequencies based off of how I hear. But it does actually make a difference when I combine both of them. So that's Adapt Sound. It's here. It's pretty effective. I'm glad it's here. I would not say that the hearing impact of using this feature makes it better than, say, the AirPods Pro 2. The AirPods Pro 2 are pretty effective at balancing out. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but I would say it's better than what you get with Adapt Sound. It's definitely way better than what you get with Creative Orvana Ace Mimi, because I said the Ace Mimi, the Mimi hearing test, it detects the hearing loss, but it does not really seem to compensate for it even as effectively as Adapt Sound does here. So If you're looking for the Buds 3 because you want the hearing enhancements, I would say if your hearing is better than mine, so if I go back into this, if you take the hearing test and you find that your hearing is, above the good range, then Adapt Sound will probably help you. If you're below the good range, because you see it doesn't even address below good. If you're below the good range, you probably are going to need something additional, or you're going to want to look for a different product. But if you do have, minor hearing loss that's really minor, noticeable but minor, I do think Adapt Sound could be worth the money paying for the Buds 3 Pro over, say, the Buds 2 Pro. Now, from a sound perspective, this sound is obviously subjective. I have tested out the AirPods, as I said, and the Creative Arvana Ace Mimi. My previous go-to is the Technics AZ80. You can find those relatively inexpensively now that the AZ100s are out. I think the AZ80s are pretty good. I think that their sound is probably as good as or better than the Buds 3 Pro, so I wouldn't pay full price for the Buds 3 Pro based off of the sound. The Buds 3 Pro supposedly have the new dual driver setup, which on paper should make it better than the Buds 2 Pro, but my experience is that the Buds 2 Pro have better performance in the mid and high range. It's a little bit clearer. It's a little bit more balanced in its overall sound profile, whereas the Buds 3 Pro out of the box are a little bit more bass heavy, a little bit more consumer oriented. You obviously have equalizers and you can make adjustments, but even so, I do think that the Buds 2 Pro have better clarity in the mid-range. But if you like bass, I would say you might prefer the Creative Arvana Ace Mimi, because they are, I won't call them bass monsters, but you can definitely get a bass heavy sound out of those, and out of the box they are bassier than the Buds 3 Pro. And if you're looking for something that's a little bit more balanced across, then the Technics AZ80 or AZ100s, if you're willing to pay the price for those, might be a better bet. And obviously there are even more expensive options that do sound, probably even better. I don't have a lot of those options at my disposal, but I know that there are, other items out there from Bowers & Wilkins, even the Sonys, the DVLA, Geminis, the Focus and Focal. There are a whole bunch of other options out there if you're an audiophile looking for something better. So I don't know who this is for, and that makes it hard to recommend, because I think in general the Buds 2 Pro are fine and you can get them now relatively inexpensively. I bought mine refurb from Best Buy for $80 a year ago. I bought these Buds 3 Pro refurb as well, and they were $140. So not quite double the price, but definitely more expensive. And if you buy them new, they are over $200. And I just think there are a lot more options that are better. Now, if you do want to stay in the Samsung ecosystem and you do want something newer than the Buds 2 Pro, then this is your option. You're going to get all the latest software updates with these until something new comes out, and that can be beneficial. They do work well with the Samsung ecosystem. They do have the stems, so the microphones do perform a little bit better. But I do think the Buds 2 Pro fit better. So it's all what's important to you. Where does price fit in? Where does sound fit in? Where does noise canceling fit in? Because the Buds 3 Pro do perform better, way better with noise canceling than the Buds 2 Pro do. So it's what's important to you, what matters to you. But I do think that unless your hearing loss is very minor, I wouldn't recommend you run out and buy the Buds 3 Pro to try to compensate for whatever hearing loss you have. You might still want to stick with something else that's more geared towards hearing loss. There are a few products out there on the market that do a little bit more, but they're not consumer oriented. And if that's something that's really of concern to you, I would go off in that angle, as opposed to just going after consumer grade audio products, unless you're in the Apple ecosystem and you're interested in the AirPods Pro 2, which do actually perform pretty well. So that's my take on the Buds 3 Pro. I'm going to keep them because I I want to continue to compare them against other things, but I'm not sure that I like them enough that I would keep them otherwise. That's where I am. Hope that helps someone. Thanks for watching.